Hi, family and friends. It's me again. I'm here for two reasons today. Number one, to thank you all for watching my video last week as I shared my heart with you all about what I truly feel are the four things that we need to do to get ourselves to a place of racial reconciliation. That was in response to the question that I frequently get of what can I do? How can I help? I want to say thank you all. This past week has been an absolute pleasure for me to entertain the calls, the Facebook posts, the phone calls, messages, and everything that pretty much I've received saying, hey, I really do want to do more, and I'm responding to your call. So thank you so much for challenging me. So that's the first reason why I'm here. The second reason is because I want to introduce something that I'm going to step out of my comfort zone and call the Listen and Learn series. I can't give you a challenge without me accepting my challenge, right? So basically, with the whole what can I do, I found that a lot of us really need to educate ourselves, themselves, myself included. This is not just for my white friends and family, this is for my black friends and family as well. I've discovered over the past week so much history that I've heard of, but I've never bothered to dig deeper. And for whatever reason, right now, we have the time and we're listening and we're digging deep. So if you missed that first video, the first video I said there are four things I believe you can do. First, I said you examine yourself, you examine your heart. I believe that these are matters of the heart, and I quoted the guard your heart with all due diligence because out of it comes the issues of life, and also the fact that it's the spring well of life. And I would encourage you to definitely examine your heart, yes. And I believe that examining the heart is something that's personal. So the second thing that I challenged you all to do was to listen, so humble yourself and listen, and then also educate yourself, so learn. And then the final step was to be bold. And for many of us, be bold has been one of the first steps. So for me, this video is me being bold. For many of you who have responded to me, reached out to me, that's you being bold. But I think that listening and learning is something that we can do together as a community, and we can hold one another accountable. So what I plan to do is I plan to take some topics that I believe are topics that we could listen and learn about, but not just listen and learn, but dialogue together in community. I think it's fitting. What I'm going to do is these videos are going to be short. I don't plan to give you a lecture. Yes, I am a college professor, but I don't plan for these lectures to be longer than these talks. They're not lectures. I don't plan for them to be longer than 2 to 3 minutes. And also, I don't plan for it to be formal. I want it to be informal. I don't want it to be polished. I don't want it to be rehearsed. I want it to be the natural gut instinct talking from me. And then I challenge you all to dialogue with me. I challenge you to comment below with your questions. I challenge you to continue your own research and come back and share what you're learning. And I also request and challenge you to tell me other topics that you want to talk about. So I'm going to start with the topic for today. I believe it's fitting that the topic from today be twofold: Juneteenth and Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, why would I pick these two? If you have been watching the news, you'll see that today is June 14th, and Donald Trump announced a couple of days ago that he wanted to hold a rally on Juneteenth, 2020, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so that caused many people to be outraged, but it also caused many people to question why. What is the big deal? Why Juneteenth? Why is that something that matters? And why is Oklahoma such a big deal? So I will take a few minutes to give you a very brief background about Juneteenth and Tulsa, Oklahoma. So before talking about Juneteenth, it's fitting that I mention what many of us probably learned in school, the Emancipation Proclamation that President Abraham Lincoln signed in January of 1863. There's history to that in itself, but the date is significant. So January 1863, I encourage you to dig deeper. Again, that was preliminary. And then the 13th Amendment, which later followed in 1865, January of 1865, Abraham Lincoln issued it, and it was ratified in December of that year. I encourage you to check out the 13th Amendment. The language is so short, I'll read to you what the 13th Amendment says. It says, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So I would challenge you to watch 13th. Ava DuVernay digs deeper to the exception to the 13th Amendment. But for the sake of this short video, I want to say what matters is the date, January 1865. So Juneteenth, the official date is June. I've heard different stories that say we call it Juneteenth because we're not sure of which of the teen numbers it is. So is it 13 or is it actually 19? 19, but Juneteenth has been recognized as June 19th, and it's celebrated annually across our country as a recognition to the fact that some slaves did not get word until June of 1865 that they in fact were free per the 13th Amendment. We have to remind ourselves this was not 2020. They didn't have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Now something can happen and it's immediate. We find out immediately. We're all news reporters. We all have cameras on our phones. This was not the case in 1865. So that is the significance of Juneteenth. So the next question is, why Tulsa? What's the big deal of Tulsa, Oklahoma? Would it have been a problem if he had had a rally anywhere in the country on Juneteenth, or is it something specific about Tulsa? Well, yep, there is something specific about Tulsa. If you do some history on Tulsa, you'll see that if you've ever heard about Black Wall Street, there was a lot of African American wealth in Tulsa, Oklahoma, specifically Black Wall Street. So on the Memorial Day weekend of 1921, so almost 100 years ago, there was a mass massacre in Tulsa. I'm not going to talk about what led to or the allegations of what sparked the massacre, because that is a whole nother story in itself, and it is so similar to many other things that we've seen, but I'm not going to go there yet today. I don't want to take away the attention from Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I would encourage you to do some research on Tulsa, Oklahoma, the massacre. There's a lot of documentaries out there already. I heard that LeBron James is going to do one this week that I heard that announced, but there's already a lot of documentaries out there about the Tulsa Massacre. So I would encourage you to educate yourself on that, as well as other unfortunate massacres that took place across the United States after 1865, after Juneteenth, after the 13th Amendment. So I would encourage you to just do some research on those massacres. And whether or not you believe that Donald Trump's decision was ill intent on his behalf to have the rally there, I will say the Forbes magazine had an article that basically said he didn't even need Tulsa votes, but he still chose that site. But since then, it has been decided that the rally will not be in Tulsa on Juneteenth. I will say, though, I'm happy that he decided to have his rally in Tulsa on Juneteenth, because what it did was it allowed us to have a desire to learn. It made many people question, well, why Tulsa? Why Juneteenth? What's the big deal? And I'm so happy that now many of us now know, if you didn't already, what Juneteenth is and what the history and significance of Tulsa is. I can tell you that many states, I believe that the last time I researched it, there are about 3 states that do not have Juneteenth and recognized holidays on the books for their state. But the unfortunate part is that many of the states did not get that until the 90s and the early 2000s. So between the 90s and present day, if you will. But anyway, I don't want to belabor this, but I just want you to know that my purpose of these Listen and Learn series is for you to further educate yourself about a topic as it relates specifically to African American history in this country. I want it to be a platform for us to further discuss and learn and grow together. I want us to go a lot deeper into these topics. I will tell you, I was inspired by 2 things to do this. Number one, all of the protests that are going on around our country today in the wake of the death of George Floyd. Unfortunately, as I make this video, another person was murdered in Atlanta. And so when does it stop? What do we do? How do we be a change? And to me, my voice is a step at a change. Another thing that inspired me is there's a movement right now happening called Girls Trek. I don't know if you all know about it, but it's designed to be a 21-day walking experience for history on African American women specifically, and I have been enjoying every single day of it. I will say to the ladies the founders of Girls Trek, I thank you. If you ever see this video, I sincerely thank you for doing what you're doing. I have loved every bit of it. So Listen and Learn series, please join me Please subscribe below. I will continue to add videos and they will be shorter. This video was to give you the context, but my goal will be to keep it around 3 to 5 minutes. So let's listen and learn together as we move towards being bold.